I said, hey,
Hi, Facebook. Welcome to Date Night with Joe and Katy Kindred. And, of course, Jake. And look, that's Shelly. She's our intern who's going to be running the show tonight on this. So if you have questions, she's going to be looking at it to be able to read them off so that you can actually get answers for a date night here. How about that? All right, so there you go. And you can watch with Shelly. Jake's talking with everybody now. You good?
Amazing restaurants.
All right, perfect.
Oh, she's like, oh, I know them. And I guess, because you guys both won the beer award, right?
No, we have not won. Yeah,
she's won it.
Okay.
Yeah. But we've done a couple dinners together and stuff like that.
You have. It was a cool event. She was nice.
Yeah, she's
awesome.
great.
Can you put my hearing
Turning
one
on the
up,
headphones?
Turn me up in the headphones?
This is why we try to get here half hour early. Sorry, guys. Better?
Nope. Hello?
Better.
Nope.
Better?
Nope.
Well, then you are.
Are those adjusting okay for you?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. And these are, just try to talk as much into the microphone as you can. It's a little tricky. Oh, Jake's already been through all that. Okay.
Give him the rundown.
You did. Okay. So sorry, what he said we just roll whatever. We'll start the recording and start the give Jake something fun to edit later. You guys, your kids are home. They're how old?
So our oldest is 7, and then 5, and then 2.
7, 5, and 2. Ooh, you're a little more in the weeds than we are still.
Yeah, well, 2 is almost 3.
Okay.
But I don't know. I feel like 3 might be harder than 2.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree.
Yeah,
I totally
3 is hard.
3 was the worst.
Yeah.
Wait, 3 was for who? For which one? Ours are 9, 8, and 5.
I feel like you have amnesia.
What
They were all terrible at 3.
I think ours were better at 3.
Oh, wow.
Our girl was better at 3. But
What's your order?
Our son, girl, boy, boy.
Oh, okay.
And our middle son, though, he was definitely a sitch.
Yeah, but Graydon's gonna be like way worse.
Yeah, he's like, head first bruiser. Like,
This is the 2-year-old.
Yeah.
See, I feel like because your baby is that's your last one at this point at least, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the little guy. Yeah.
So he's a boy and he's got an older brother and an older sister.
Yeah.
Does he just like run the show?
Oh well, I mean, right now he's in the point where he just like repeats any word that you hear.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh, we're gonna go sledding, and he hears like slowing. And he's
Yeah.
like, let's go slowing, mommy. And then when we don't go slowing, he like loses his mind.
Right.
So it's kind of
You
cute.
guys said we're
you
gonna
know?
go slowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just follows them around, like he wants to
like
be.
their little
Yeah,
minion.
I mean it's adorable. Yeah.
Cal, remember when Cal did that too? Our youngest son, our middle child, couldn't like any word you said. He would kind of repeat close to what it was, or sometimes not even remotely close. We're going to Jake's cousin's wedding this weekend, and her name is Allie, but we all call her Taco because when Cal was 2, we were going around and saying like,
Taco.
"This is Uncle Bill and this is Uncle Rick," and he was like, "Bubba," and we're like, "Okay." So Uncle Rick somehow still became Uncle Rick, and we're like, "And this is Cousin Allie," and he goes, "Taco." And we were like, and she's been Taco ever since. So
Which is
That's
not,
awesome.
it's not really like a speech impediment or anything. I think that's just IQ. Like,
Yeah.
That's a human, not a Latin American dish.
Yeah.
Like, we've got larger things in play here.
Cousin Taco. Okay, so you have 3 kids. They're home now with the nanny. Is that like your childcare, thing? What's like a day in the life? Do you homeschool them too? Did I hear that somewhere on a podcast?
Yeah. So just our oldest though.
How much homework did you do?
I stalked them a lot.
So much homework.
I think I heard you on maybe C5 or Charlotte podcast at some point.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, a couple years ago we did.
Okay.
So So last year we homeschooled our our 2 oldest. So our daughter and then our middle son. But then he got in on a lottery this year for really a great school in Davidson. So we're pumped about that. But he's there, but she did not get in. So now
Siblings?
Well, now next year she will likely
Okay.
get pulled in on the lottery, on the sibling lottery,
Got it.
which is a different thing. So it's one of those,
Sibling lottery.
Yeah, so
Because
it's
they
like
have
a
a sibling already
smaller.
together.
Yeah,
That's
they
a
have
new
because
TV
if you
show.
already have.
Congratulations, you won the lottery. You get a brother.
Yeah,
Like, that's the direction.
that
you go,
actually will happen. Probably.
Yeah. Oh, seriously.
But yeah, anyways, it's complicated. But yeah, so we still homeschool our oldest though. Yeah.
So how does that all play out with your lives? And you're saying we, so you both do it?
Well, I do the teaching, but it definitely calls. I need a lot from Joe to make that happen. So given that we have the 3, our days start pretty early. I get up like around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and kind of get my work day ish started.
Yeah.
I love to read, and like I kind of like go crazy if I don't. And so I'll wake up early and just have some time to kind of like get my head straight. You know what I mean?
I feel like we're
And then-
keeping her from her mental health.
No, God, no.
She
This
should
is
be reading right
this
now.
is the hour
She
for
should be
wine,
reading.
and like,
You
and
don't wanna
like,
see me
this
when
is
I'm not
when I
reading.
die in a pile, like at the end of my day. We're good.
Well, may we feel that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah. So it starts early, and then so I kind of try and get all that stuff like email cleared out, like all that kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
out of the way.
Yes.
And then we do the breakfast thing, and the kids get up, and we get our son off to school now. That's a new part of our routine, which is fun though. It's good. We do it all together. So as a group, go take him to school.
What's that like? What's
What do you mean?
mornings
So-
together and
So
I host a morning show, so
Yeah.
Jake does morning solo.
Oh.
So
solo mornings for about 8 years.
Yeah.
9 years?
Yeah.
How old are our kids? 14 years I've done them.
Joe, quick, say what
Uphill.
before Jake vents. What were you gonna say?
Right.
Yeah, so I miss all of them being in homeschool because I mean
It was kind of fun.
it was amazing. Like we could all sleep till like 9 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
And like the first day of school, it was the alarm went off at like 6:30, and like my son's looking at me like, what?
It's like this is
You know, I mean,
messed
because
up.
our kids,
What are
you
y'all
know,
doing?
before this year, they've been restaurant kids. and-
Yeah, everything was
working the
later.
same
Like
hours as
everything was
us.
later.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they were like night owls.
Yeah, they'd stay up
they stayed
till
like 10,
10.
like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
You know, we'd have a later dinner because we
Yeah.
wouldn't get home. So our schedule this year has definitely been thrown up in the air.
Yeah.
I want to be a restaurant kid. What does that? What does that mean? What does that entail? Are they like doing dishes and stuff? Do you get them like?
Oh,
get their
they
hands
will
dirty?
be.
I love
Oh,
that.
they will be.
Starburst
Yeah.
can make a kid do it.
Yeah.
Dangle it out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's been a transition.
It's
for
good
us,
though.
but-
I mean, I like it. It's fine. I think everything's been a transition because now we have 2 restaurants, so it's like throwing everything. You know.
Oh my
you
gosh,
know,
right, because that
changes
happened at the
all.
same time, right?
Yeah,
Hello
kind of
Sailor
all.
was, what,
It
about a year
opened
now,
in
right?
December, in early December. So we just had a year.
Just a year.
So
Happy
it's
birthday.
kind of, oh, thank you. But it does kind of like, you know, that obviously throws a lot
Yeah.
into the mix too. But yeah, so it's been a transitional year for our
I think
family in
running-
general. But
Yeah, I think running restaurants is way easier. Or no, I'm sorry. I was gonna say I think running restaurants is way harder than having kids. That's just
That's an interesting point, because that's probably one of the only industries where you can say that,
right.
right?
Well, we don't have teenagers yet, so we won't speak
That's
too
true.
soon.
Well, that's true.
but
Yeah, teenagers are
Yeah.
harder than toddlers.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, having the kids is not as hard as raising them, but raising restaurants is a lot, you know.
Or I guess
Yeah.
like my point is that you know having one restaurant was like a breeze.
Yeah.
Having 2
Come on.
restaurants, it's
No,
But
like
did you
gotta
think
say
that when you
yeah.
only had one? Because that's a good kid parallel, because when you have
I
one.
kind of did. Like I really felt confident in
Huh.
how we ran Kindred and
Yeah.
everything. But then you throw in the second one and it's like, because I think going from 1 kid to 2 kids was pretty tough for me.
Uh-huh.
But then 2 to 3 was like, we got this. Let's roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I literally say the same thing.
Yeah.
So with
It's
one,
like,
it was like, cool, run an errand.
just do
I got
another
it.
bowl of Cheerios.
Yeah.
and we're
2
good.
was a
Like,
right.
2 was like I feel like that's when we really started a fight. It was like, oh, this is a problem.
Oh, we
But
definitely
the 2 to 3 is
followed
like,
one.
let's have about. What do you
Well, ours were back to back. The 1 and 2 were only 15 months apart, so that happened so quick that there wasn't a whole lot of time to like process the one, and you know what I mean. It was
Yeah,
sort of like by the
right.
time you got used to. But I know what you mean, because like at least when there's just the one, you can always like one of you can have
Yeah.
them, and
Right.
the other one is free to do something. That's what we would fight about. Still, though, it's like your turn, my turn.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to
But when
sleep.
there's 2 or more, you're yeah, or take a shower,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
no, I'm with you. Like once we had 3, I was like, hey, let's have 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember that? Remember when I
You
said
did
that?
not either.
I definitely did not say that. I was good with 3.
We're medically officially only having 3.
Anatomically,
We are too.
Yeah.
no longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
And that
man.
was
Which
pretty
is smart,
soon
'cause
after 3.
Yeah. You know, he like ran down the hall after June came out a girl. We were like, and we're done.
Like literally. Hey, I'm sorry. Do you have a urologist on call? They saw the guy that gave anesthesia. All right, now let's run him down. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
So,
I'm fixed.
so Hello Sailor has been a year now.
Mhm.
Kindred has been
It'll be 4 in February.
4 years, right? You came on Good Day Charlotte
Mm-hmm.
like before you guys launched or right when you launched. You were one of our first.
Yeah, I think it was like right.
Chefs.
It was right when we opened.
It was right when you opened.
Yeah.
You gave me a Kindred hat that I still wear like
I
probably
was
more
shocked.
than
So glad.
ever.
I'm
That's
so glad you
awesome.
said that. I mean, frankly, it's random. It's so random. Like,
Well, 'cause
because
you
you have a
live in
million
Market,
hats.
like an
No,
hour
you
and a
have a
half from here.
million hats. And
Yeah.
soon as you locked in on this Kindred hat, and you wore it forever. I think it took me like 2 years. I'm like, what is that? What is it? And she's like, that's the restaurant we're trying to go to. up at Davidson. Like,
It took us
got
like 2 years to get to it.
Yeah.
To actually like
And
go to
she's
dinner.
obsessed
But I
with
always
that
go to that
hat.
anyway.
Yeah, so cool.
It's a great hat. It's a
Awesome.
great restaurant. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
we've done Kindred what 5
4
or
or
6
5
times
times?
at this point. We did finally got to Hello Sailor the past month or two. And through your cousin, I'm pointing to Joe for anyone who's listening via audio and not actually able to see your cousin Katie, which is just a little bit confusing.
You know, we have
overall.
the same birthday too. And
No.
we're
And
the
it's
spelling
not the
A-A-T-Y.
same.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
trippy.
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
Yeah.
That is really funny. So she was telling, while we were at Hello Sailor, she was telling us that you guys do, I guess, I don't know if you typically do, but you did Thanksgiving there this year?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
It was
big
super
spread.
great.
A fun thing. So this being our holiday edition and all, we wanted to talk a little bit about that type of stuff, like holiday
Yeah.
traditions and things.
Sure.
And obviously you guys do so much family kind of tying in with businesses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Does it all kind of revolve around the restaurants, how you guys do that?
Well, I think in the past, 4 years since we opened, it definitely has. Growing up for me, we would always go down to my grandma's house and have a huge Thanksgiving. Everybody would bring a dish and it'd be super fun. Well, we kind of outgrew my grandmother's house. It was like we all got married. I have 2 sisters that have 4 kids each. And then Katie and Carl, which I can imagine they're probably going to have kids soon. And then I got a bunch of cousins and stuff like that. So, we tried it one year. We were like, well, let's do it at Kindred. And Kindred was great. It was a beautiful space. It was the year that the Panthers were making their run. I think
Yep.
that was 2015.
Yep. Exactly.
And they played Thursday Night Football.
Oh,
and they whooped
fun.
I think
Eagles.
Dallas or somebody.
Okay, all right.
So we actually set up a TV and all went on the 3rd
Oh,
floor. And
fun.
wow.
the kids quarantined downstairs and the adults were up there.
Wait, there's a 3rd floor?
Yeah, so we have the kitchen in the basement
Yeah.
and then we have the main.
Oh,
The
that's
kitchen,
that's
right.
already
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we call it.
Gotcha.
third
Yeah, we
floor.
call it.
For
but,
the-
yeah.
That's
for
where
us,
the
they
VIPs
do it.
go.
Upstairs.
The VIPs get access to the 3rd floor.
I was like,
Yeah.
There is nothing VIP about
We're
this.
gonna- it's okay. It's
That was
just-
the chef's table.
I guess
It's
chef's
super
table.
fun.
Oh, that's right.
We almost did that the other
We're
night.
best
Yeah,
there.
we've heard about the
It's
chef's table.
really
You could-
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like it. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. So you had the game on. That's so fun.
But yeah, so we did that, and then we realized we were like, well, the whole 3 stories thing, like going up and down with all the dishes and everything, was a little bit of a pain. So then I think we did a Kindred twice, and then last year we took it off 100% because we were under construction.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year we did a Hello Sailor, and I think it was like by far our most.
I saw
It was
pictures.
so
Just
much fun. I
super
mean, it was
fun.
just the perfect space for it, and it was like almost 55 degrees.
Yeah.
It was really nice out.
I thought
So
you
we
were
put up
55
all
people.
the-
I was like, what? Well, actually,
Oh,
it
Close
was.
to that. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was definitely
yeah.
close to that. Yeah.
Yeah, but we put up the screens, and it was just so beautiful.
Oh.
And that space is I love.
Yeah.
I'm obviously very biased, but I love
Right.
that space, and it was a beautiful sunset, and we had this huge long table on the patio. And
Oh.
it was it couldn't have been a more perfect event space. So yeah, it was great, and it's just easier to clean up when it's all on one floor. The kids were
Yeah.
running around and taking photos in the photo booth. They thought it was great.
Yeah.
So it was
blast.
really
Oh,
fun.
that's
Yeah,
so
we had a great
fun.
time.
I'll tell you, we've been, twice? And I think
Hello,
the first time, I forget who, we went on a double date out there, and it was one we're excited to be here, whatever.
Shout out to shows.
But the weather was off the charts, amazing, and we're sitting there, we're like, okay, we're having a drink, but then like all these people are like trying to parallel park their boats, and let's just say they've been out on the water.
It's so entertaining.
Oh,
It was the most entertaining. We're sitting there, I'm like, wait a minute, guys, watch this guy, and this guy, bless his heart, I think he had like a 4th degree sunburn,
Oh yeah.
and he's
It's
like,
just
I'll be up there in a second. I'll
it
be up there in a
was
second.
so
And he
much
just
fun.
like a 40-point turn with his boat.
Yeah.
It was the best night ever.
It was
Oh, yeah.
so great.
Yeah.
And we've had an airplane parked in the
What?
Come
Yeah.
on.
Somebody has a seaplane
From the
on
sky?
Lake Norman. Oh yeah, and they landed on the lake
Shut.
and parked.
From the
I
sky.
remember she was like dragged like behind us.
It came from underwater, this airplane.
Yeah. And then I remember it was actually pretty cold, so this was towards like the fall, but this guy came in this humongous yacht,
Oh.
but it was like this party yacht, right? So there's like lights flashing, and
Oh,
it's like
yes.
this super awesome, and he backed this thing up on a dime. I was like, this guy is a pro. It was so
Dang.
entertaining to watch, and like the entire restaurant just stopped.
Yeah.
I was watching
Oh, it must be
this
the
guy
best.
with his like disco lights.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like, this is
He's
the
got dancers. Like, cha 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 cha.
I was like, it's just one of those moments you stop and you're like, what is my life?
Right.
What is
now?
my
Like,
life?
what am I doing?
Yes.
I own this crazy restaurant on the lake, and this is like.
I think I said the same
This
thing.
is my
It's like,
parking lot.
Between
What is this about?
between that and the gin drink with the straw that goes into like the Buddha
Yeah,
doll,
but-
I'm like,
my
I'm sitting there, I'm
I
like,
love that.
I think I literally said the same thing. I'm
Like,
like,
where am I?
this is the best night of my life.
Yeah.
This guy can't park his
We've done our
boat.
job.
I
yes.
am crushing a gin drink out of a Buddha doll's belly or something. Like, this is amazing.
It's such fun people watching too for that exact mix.
Oh, it's
we're not
amazing.
familiar. I know you grew up on a lake, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So we're not familiar with like the lake culture so much in
Yeah.
terms up there in terms of like the big body of water lake culture. But it was such a fun mix of like exactly what you said, people off the boat like in their swim trunks still with like a shirt, and people who like us who were like, we're coming from an hour and a half away, like it's our first time in Hello, so we're all dressed up. It's like a, you know what I mean? It's like a thing. It was such
Paige
a
is wearing her
mix of
finest
people.
khakis. It was,
My pleats are all just ready.
yeah, it was a fun night.
It was fun. It was
Good.
very fun.
Our desk like looks out into the lake.
Oh gosh.
We have it all like when we were designing the office. She was designing the office. There was 2 windows, and we get to see all that madness on a daily basis. It's pretty funny.
Smart. Oh god, I bet. Yeah. Speaking of,
Oh
by
gosh,
the
are
way,
you gonna go down a wormhole here?
I
Okay.
won't make us go there for
Thank
too
you.
long. But I'm a little obsessed with your decor and your
Oh,
style.
thank you.
It's great.
Joe, you wanna get out of here?
So-
I know.
Take another.
I said-
Yeah. Give. Hey,
I
this
said
doesn't
to
have
Paige,
to
I'm
go
like,
on.
I said to Paige, I'm like,
No, I'm good.
look, we're gonna talk about them and their kids and family life and all that kind of stuff. I do not want to spend 45 minutes on, well, I'm getting blind, or not blind, I said blinds, window treatments. What should we do in our house? We've got massive windows.
But you do have a great eye. Was that
appreciate
like
that.
a thing? I mean, I know because you picked all the decor, right? For
Yeah.
both Kindred and
Yeah, I
Hello,
designed it both. Yeah.
and you nailed it. Do you have a background in that, or
No, I don't. Yeah, no.
you're a restaurant background, both of you,
Yeah,
right?
I actually come from a wine background and front of house, like service and wine. Yeah.
Well, you're nailing that too. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
since that segues then into a little bit of your backgrounds, can you guys tell us, but for each of you, kind of what you did to get where you are? And you met through a restaurant too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we want to hear the
Yeah.
origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll kind of give you the cliff notes. I mean, so Joe, is it okay if I speak for you?
Yeah, you do it way better.
so he actually went to culinary school and went to Johnson and Wales, but when it was in Charleston. So this was a little bit back in the day.
You're about 74 years old?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
73, but
73.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is
Thanks.
audio. This
Thanks
is
a lot.
audio only. I
Thanks,
just want to paint the picture for everyone.
yeah.
Actually,
So
way younger than I look.
yeah.
Oh,
Self-proclaimed.
561.
Yeah.
Got it.
Haven't got that
It's the
AARP
cool
line
brain
yet.
of you.
People like give me a double look when I give my ID. I'm like, I know.
People think, really?
I feel like you teed this up.
It's the graveyard.
36.
Hey!
Hey!
Wow! All right.
How old do people think you are?
Usually like 40, 43.
It's just because you got the cool salt and pepper beard.
I would have gone my age.
What's that?
38.
Yeah.
No, I would have gone 38 to 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I-
that's 2 years.
I'm super jealous of that beard. Like, I want all that salt and pepper right now. And I'll be there someday.
Hair club for men, man. For real.
You do the.
The salt and pepper one, it's amazing.
He's kidding.
How do you even do that?
No, I'm serious.
He's pulling your leg.
I'm hamming it up for the podcast. Really, Joe? What? It's amazing.
The salt and pepper pack.
Yeah.
Proceed.
So, anyways, yeah. So he went to real culinary school, and then moved back to Charlotte. But at the time, there just wasn't like he really wanted to cut his teeth for like a bigger name kind of chef and like really get his butt kicked. And so I think you were looking at New York, you were looking at Chicago, and was there another city? It was kind of between those two, right?
Yeah.
And then ended up moving to Chicago, and worked at True. And then we ended up meeting there, because that's where I'm from. So
Oh.
You're from
The
Chicago.
city?
I'm from Chicago.
Which suburb?
So I was born in Evanston, and then moved to the city as a late teen and lived there till I was like, I don't know, 26 or something like that, 25.
So my brother's wedding, when I was just up there, was Deerfield, and they
Oh,
live in
okay.
Libertyville.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
know all about Chicago. Love
Okay,
it.
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. We did high school sports against Deerfield.
Oh, you did?
Interesting.
So,
What'd you play?
yeah, I played water polo and
Shut
ran cross
up!
country.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? In Chicago?
Yeah.
Small window to do that.
Actually, the Midwest is a big water polo.
Why?
sort
Because
of
they
hub.
like do indoor pools and.
Oh yeah, it's all
Well,
indoor,
obviously, yeah.
yeah.
What a random, cool sport to have
It's
played.
so random. I played
Very
college
random.
too.
Did you
I
really?
swear to God. On the
Wait.
men's team.
Oh my gosh. What?
On the next episode of Date Night with
I
Jake
have
and Paige,
I have a very weird. Yeah.
we
That's an
unpacked
intense
both.
sport
Can you
right
get
now.
in there? Can you tell us about it?
What's
What?
that?
I
About water
Did
polo?
you go to the Olympics? What is this?
No. You still wish.
I was waiting
Like
this.
every week I learned something new about.
Did you know that?
No, I knew that.
Okay, good.
But
Yeah,
it's like,
we do have funny conversations. We'll be at some like cafe. I'm like, God, I remember like when I was in Morocco. It's just like, what?
You've been to Morocco?
No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Oh.
No, like yeah.
Or, like-
I had a really weird.
That's a good fun fact.
like renovating our house, I learned a lot. I was like, because it was 100% her idea to buy the house we bought, which is
Yeah.
the best. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to open Kindred without it.
Are you
but-
still there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we
still
still
there.
live there.
But
Wait, what does that mean?
well, I mean, it just looked like it looked like a trailer park. It full on like, and she was like, "No, this is the house. This is the house for us. This is where we're gonna raise
Yeah.
our babies." And at the time, I didn't really know like her expertise in design or anything like that.
I would certainly not call it expertise.
No, it
but
is.
Yeah.
She's a baller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than a knack.
She's, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like I always tell everyone, like, you know, the chefs get all the credit, but like, what she does for our restaurant is just, it's amazing.
No, you're right. It's a perfect marriage, if you will, of the two,
Yeah.
because part of what makes you love the food so much is not only how it tastes, but the overall feel you have when you're in the spaces. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't,
Absolutely.
Kindred wouldn't, like, the food would be nothing without, like, that special, like, feeling she's
Mhm.
created. And it's funny, like, a lot of people are like, well, you know, what do you think about this wine? Or what do you think about the service at Kindred or this? I'm like, that's a Katy
That's a
question.
Katy question.
You know, and it's great because, like,
Yeah.
I literally, like, I don't have to think about it. Like,
Yeah.
that's just her thing, and I do the thing in the back, and it works out great. But yeah, that's back to your story.
So yeah. So anywho.
You guys are amazing.
But yeah, so we met when we were in Chicago, and I had kind of a wayward path to the restaurant business. I went to college and all that, but I didn't really love
Yes,
it. Like, it's not
yeah.
that I didn't like hate it, but it just wasn't. I wasn't feeling like passionate about any
Mm-hmm.
direction that I was going. And so a good friend of mine was working in Paris at the time when I was just kind of like going through it, like, what am I going to do, you know? And so I ended up going out to visit him, stay with him for a week, and he was working at a Hyatt Place Vendôme, so it's a really nice hotel in Paris. And so I had wine and like food in their proper context for the first time in my life, and I was just sort of like, man, this is like really, you know, and I just sort of felt kind of moved to go further into that. I was like, you know, this is really interesting. I really appreciate like how all this is coming together in this moment in the space, and like, it was just something that I could, and I love to travel. I love people. I've always been passionate about food. I love food. My parents cooked every meal growing up, and like, so I was always like around food and home cooked food. And so I was like, oh, maybe this is something I want to get into. So I came back to Chicago and decided I was going to go into the nicest restaurant I'd ever been to, you know, and just walk into the office and tell them they should hire me. And they did.
Come on.
Which I was lucky.
What?
Swear to God.
Wow.
And so they were like, well, you are completely unqualified, so you can be a host. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll be a host.
But that was the most baller movie
And
you've
I
ever
was like,
seen.
yeah,
So
this is
okay.
great, you know, like I was super nerd, like I'm ready to go. But I really wanted to study wine and really wanted to get into that. So the whole time I'm like bugging the sommelier, like I'm gonna, you know, I want to learn more, I want to learn more, give me more. And so I was like 20 or 19, 20 at the time. And so I was just like, you know, studying, getting every book I could, asking all the people who were smarter than me to like tell me what to read and tell me what to learn, and just like went like all in on learning wine. And when I turned 21, which you have to be obviously 21 to take your
Well, I
sommelier.
mean,
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't think of that when you said
Yeah,
older.
you do have to be 21 to take the test, and so I took it like right when I was 21 and passed, and I was like, okay, now
At
and I'm
21?
like, yeah, so I'm
That's a
like,
big
now
deal.
I
I
gotta
think
be,
of,
I'm like,
itself, right?
I mean,
Big
I
fan.
don't
Yeah,
know.
okay.
I-
Joe
you know,
translates
but-
for us here.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Either
Your
way.
modesty captain over here. All right.
But yeah, so then I ended up kind of getting into the wine side of the business, and that's when we met. So I was the wine director at the hotel where we met, and he came on as a sous chef, and so we became friends, and we were friends for like a year, maybe a little bit more than that. Joe always jokes that I like didn't give him the time of day for like an entire year, which
I was like, I would have loved to have not been friends that first year.
Focused,
Oh, got it, right.
Dialed
I was
in,
trying to be
completely dialed.
professional.
Yeah.
Paris
But no-
messed her up, man. She
Yeah.
was locked in.
Well, you know, and I was just in a weird time in my life for like, probably from when I left college, so I was in my early 20s, going through all that, all the way through the, you know, the better part of that entire decade. before we kind of like settled and started doing our own thing, I was all over the place. I would work a place for a year, and then I would go to Buenos Aires, and I would like spend everything I'd saved and just learn about the culture and learn about the food and learn about the people. And then I'd run out of money, and I'd go home and I'd work another place, and I'd go. So I ended up.
Is this while you knew Joe? Were you like?
This was before that, and
Okay.
but then a little bit into when I knew you, because my last trip was when we were actually dating, and that's actually how we got engaged. So when I went out to work at a winery in Tuscany, and worked for a chef out there for a little while, and so he ended up coming out to visit me, and we got engaged when we were out there.
Oh wow.
Which is why our daughter's named Alba. So if you're wondering where that name came from, we got engaged in Alba, Italy. So this is like a really wayward.
This is exactly.
But anyways,
I also love
so,
that you just explained that Alba is in Italy, because
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
first said that, I was like, oh, please tell us where that is.
Yeah, so it's in northern Italy.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's a little
neat.
town, and it means sunrise in Italian. We always thought if we have a daughter, that'd be a really great
Oh, I
name
love
for
it.
her, because that's where we got
You
engaged,
are.
and so
Yes.
there's a reason, but
Yeah.
then also it's just a really pretty word.
No, by the way,
Yeah.
you totally lived into this podcast just now. We're like, hey, give us your backstory. And you're like, well, and then the end. Like, it's the whole thing.
No.
Yeah.
What a beautiful backstory too.
I
Come
know.
on, Joe,
Yeah.
you're like beaming over here. So
Yeah.
did she miss anything? You got any blanks to fill? You got anything else?
Oh, well, then we
Just
went on that
admire
like.
I know. Oh man, you guys are having a night, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, there's no kids and there's no restaurants, so there's a little stress right now.
Amen.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
Cold beer.
Yeah.
Love that.
But yeah, so then, long story short, we got together and then we got engaged. We dated and then got engaged when we were in Italy, and then decided we were going to move to California. So we took like a really, 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 really long way to get there in our little Honda Civic. I just drove like 8 all across the country. Nothing fancy, but it was really, really fun.
Just like explore.
And then lived in San Francisco for a couple of years.
It's part of that
before settling
wine.
back
I
here.
mean, you were close to the wine world. I mean, did
Yeah.
you get to scratch
Yeah.
that itch, or?
We almost
Well,
moved there.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
actually, I went out there with the intention of working just in wine, but then I got a job offer to be the AGM at a really nice restaurant called Quince, which
AGM.
AGM.
I'm sorry, assistant general manager,
Oh.
which was like front of house.
I'm like, that's
Yeah.
actually very obvious.
Yeah.
I know, it was a wine
I'm
I
term.
know, I
sorry,
was like,
I'm like,
Oh, the adult good music person? Yeah, I got it.
I was like, I
Yeah.
know we got to Merlot at the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wow.
Yeah.
And by the way, all of
Sorry,
Charlotte
restaurateur.
just collectively gasped that like we almost lost the Kindreds. Like they almost just moved. They
Oh,
almost moved to California. Yeah,
I
this almost
know.
didn't happen.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
All right.
sweet. Yeah, but yeah, so we loved it out there. It was great, but yeah, I guess I got kind of like lured in the front of the house, like management, which I took gladly, and I'm glad I did, because I learned kind of like another sort of side. I'd been a manager before, but not like in charge of a lot.
Yeah.
And so that was a really great experience, like kind of like managing sort of the service. I was on the wine team as well, so I'd fill in for the Sam when she wasn't working. But it was a great experience, and sort of drew me out of wine a little bit more, which I still do the wine for the restaurants and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad I did that, because it kind of got me into the other side of the business, which I don't know if we would have wanted to open a restaurant if I hadn't learned that stuff.
So that you were a little more balanced. in
Yeah,
terms of
like I
business.
learned a little bit more operations and
Yeah.
like that, which is really critical to learn on somebody else's time.
I would think.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So what were you doing in California?
I was freeloading.
I love
Just
it.
hanging out in Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
Driving over to Santa Rosa. Oh, this beer's pretty good too.
Yeah. So I worked at a restaurant called Delfina.
Okay.
I think one of the the neatest parts about living in San Francisco was that we both worked for husband and wife restaurants.
Oh,
which
cool.
We don't
no
talk about
way.
that a lot.
Yeah.
But so Delfina was Craig and Annie Stoll. Craig was the chef. She was the front of the house. And then where Katie was at, Quince, was Mike and Lindsay Tusk.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same thing. Mike was the chef and Lindsay was the som.
Oh.
So I think we really got a good taste that it was like, probably Craig and Annie were more the family driven, and Mike and Lindsay were much more like career driven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
Which is great.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
But
Now, sorry, and what does career driven mean? Like you're trying to sell the restaurant?
No,
Or
no.
like
It's like
franchise?
their baby was the restaurant, whereas
Yeah.
Craig and Annie, they
Okay,
had kids
all right.
and stuff. So it's just
Yeah.
totally different. No one's better or worse.
Right.
It's just different.
yeah, so I worked there, and it was up until that point in my career, I had really focused on trying to work at higher end restaurants, and I was following kind of the trend of like what it was like to be a chef, and what most that was when like Thomas Keller was you know, really at the height of what he was doing, you know, and I was just
For
like,
people who don't know the restaurant world, who's
Oh, you didn't? I was recently like, obvious,
Okay.
right? Uh-huh.
sorry. So
No.
the French Laundry, I think was like the first.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like the first
which is like
cookbook
the
I got.
giant restaurant. Do you know what French Laundry is?
Yeah.
I only
It's
know he
iconic.
does it.
It's iconic.
For the purpose of the
Yeah.
podcast, we'll keep it moving. Yep.
No, but just for, I mean, a lot of people, I only know it on the surface. It is like the spot in Napa or Sonoma
Yeah,
or something,
Napa,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So I think like he was like one of the chefs that like before being a chef was like cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just one of the guys that was just it was just I still you know read his cookbook nowadays. So you know I had always been kind of white tablecloth and I felt like that was like the only way to do it. So getting out to California and kind of learning that you know it's called like the Calital cuisine. So it's like California, but everything has like a lot of Italian feel. So it's like everything's fresh. There's lots of pastas. There's lots of seafood, but like up until that point in my career, I was used to like lots of things being on the plate and all these little like details, and it was so important that your carrot had to be cut this way.
Is that like from schools, like technical?
Kind of like
yeah.
from school and just from the restaurants that I had chosen to work
Got
at.
it,
You know,
okay.
just kind of more high-end, fancy, fine dining restaurants. And so Delfino was a neighborhood, you know, mom and pop joint. And I mean, you know, I say that like, but I mean, you know, he had won a James Beard. I mean, it's still revered as one of the best restaurants in San Francisco. So I just really loved working there, and I think
Yeah.
Katie went the more kind of fine dining. I mean, Quince now has what, 2, 3 Michelin stars?
3.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So it was, you know, we both had like great gigs. Mine was much more like casual, where hers was like very intense. But for me, like up until that point in my career, it was always like kind of just go, like super high end, and I just really learned how to appreciate food and ingredients, and that was like right when like the farm to table thing was a really big, you know, big thing. And out, you know, in California, it's not like a trend. It's not like, oh, let's go to this farm to table
Right.
restaurant.
It's like how they live.
It's a
Yeah.
way of life,
Uh-huh.
you know, like, you know, I remember we lived with her aunt for a little while, and she had like Meyer lemon trees and just like, I mean, just all
Like
sorts
go
of
in the
fun.
backyard, pick an
Yeah.
avocado, and just like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and I still to this day, every time we go to California, I'm like, hey, what's blooming, you know?
Wow.
Right.
But it was
Everything,
neat.
it's California.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Like, if we had the produce that California has, I would like. It's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's where I work.
And then, so you guys got married in San Francisco?
We were living in San Francisco, but we flew back here to get married.
Oh, you did? Because
Well,
this is home for you,
technically
right,
we
Joe?
went to,
Yeah.
to
So I
the
was,
coast,
right.
but yeah.
To the coast?
Yeah, because Joe's got, his grandfather built a house out in Swansboro.
Oh, neat.
And so we have like strong ties to you know, coastal Carolina.
Yeah, so
we
what
got
brought
married
you
out
back here then, to live?
The cost of living.
Right.
Well, I mean, it was actually
San
a number
Francisco's
of different
insane.
things. Yeah, San Francisco's. Well, we were left at 2009 though, so the economy had just kind of fallen apart.
All right. Okay.
But like we didn't
And-
know.
Yeah,
'Cause in San Francisco,
was
like,
a
there's,
little
like,
bit
a
of a bubble. Yeah, I mean,
Like,
we
you
knew
just-
on paper, but
Well,
it,
yeah.
you didn't feel it as
This
hard.
feels
as
expensive.
it is.
This,
Yeah.
but it's fine, right? We're
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not wearing any clothes. It's
But
fine.
I mean, it was something we considered, obviously, but I think the strongest thing for us was that we wanted to have kids.
Uh-huh.
And to have that network around us was pretty important.
Yeah.
And like both of his sisters live here or
Mhm.
here, well, up in Davidson, and his mom is here. And my parents were open to moving here, which they do live here now.
Oh, wow.
So now we have like our whole kind of like bubble, and so it's
How
just-
smart of you to know that before you had kids? But
Well,
right, like, a
yeah,
lot
I
of
mean there
people
was
do
no
that.
guarantees, but like they definitely were like.
But I mean,
they
even
lived in
just to know that
Chicago
was
and the weather
necessary.
is like a
Oh, yeah.
disaster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so like I'm all done. You know, when you're
Yeah.
like close to retirement age, I think Chicago's a tough.
You don't want to shovel anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So I you know I say that because I love Chicago, but it's tough.
It's great
So-
in June and July.
No, oh, it's
we
the
go
best.
there. We go there once a year, but
Yeah.
we typically go like, you know.
That's right. Tell me, it's got the best 3 months. That window is just
It's
out
amazing.
of control.
Yeah. And nobody
September can be
appreciates
fun,
summer
too.
more than people.
Right.
Chicago,
Right,
and,
also
like
that.
Michigan.
Yeah. Oh, they
and,
go
like,
crazy.
Oh, they just love
Yeah.
it. It's
So did
like
you-
Hawaiian shorts when it's 55
Right.
degrees outside. They're like,
And by the way, it's the Midwest. They're
Yeah.
totally wearing Hawaiian board shorts.
Yeah.
So like
100%.
brunch and
Yeah.
like Bears games.
Yeah.
All right. So was there a parachute when you moved back to Charlotte? Did you have a plan, or was it more like
No.
we've got family, we got a network, figure it out?
So I had worked for Jim Noble at Noble's when I graduated from Johnson & Wales. I did my internship at Noble's in off whatever that road, I think Morrison Boulevard.
Yep.
And so we had a great relationship. I worked there for a couple of years, before I moved to Chicago, and then Katy, we both kind of been like, all right, well, so I contacted Chef Noble, and I interviewed with him, and I interviewed with Frank Schiavelli from, I think it's Mama Ricotta's.
Yeah.
And I ended up just going with Chef Noble because I worked with him, and I always thought he was just a really good dude, still do, he's amazing, he's like my mentor. So I took the gig as the chef of Rooster South Park.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so I didn't have like a plan per se, but I should preface this by saying all that travel that I did when I was younger, like I would get on a plane with like know where to stay, didn't even know where I was gonna like lay
Oh
my
my gosh,
head that
you and I
night.
would have a real problem.
I was like crazy.
You and I could
crazy.
go together.
So yeah, for me it was like
he's not invited.
805, 805
Yeah.
brunch at
Yeah.
Yelp's number 2
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
It's 8:01 and we're not out the door. honey.
Yeah. Paige, I'm gonna be calm, but Paige, look at my eyes. Look at my eyes.
We got to
We
go.
are off the itinerary.
Yeah, I was very much fly by the seat of my pants. So yeah,
That's totally us getting ready for school now, by
Yeah.
the way.
Oh.
It's like I will go to the oven and like set the timer.
No,
You know like the 19-minute timer.
No, well, by the way, this morning she wasn't at work today, so she helps with the mornings, and I'm like
When I'm
enjoying
home,
sleeping in a little bit. I'm sleeping in, and I'm hearing, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh, she's not gonna make it. She's not gonna make it. I've done this for. I've done this. I've done this for 9 years.
Yeah.
She's not gonna make it. And sure enough, I got up and kind of peeked out, and none of the book bags were done. None of the snacks were done. You're welcome. I got you.
Did you swoop in?
Absolutely, I
I
swooped it. You did.
Oh, thanks.
My
I thought
everything goes overlooked.
I thought we did have book bags last night. I was like, wow, you guys did your book bags quick. Good job.
Wow, that seemed to really just come together.
It's amazing.
All right, sorry. Okay, so no plan.
But yeah,
Hop
so
on a plane.
I was perfectly comfortable
Right.
with the idea of just
Right.
winging it. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just get here and I'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
There was no plane. It was throw the Meyer lemon tree in the back of a Honda Civic.
Yeah, we
And
so
drive again.
so on the way
This
back.
Civic,
on the way
by the way, has
to
got
Queens,
some work.
Two-door Civic.
Oh, yes.
So we went out the southern route and then came back the northern route, which was quite
Oh,
an adventure.
fun.
We almost ran into a moose, literally.
Oh.
But yeah, so we, yeah, so I got here and ended up, I actually vowed that I wasn't going to work in management anymore. And so I was like, I just want to earn some good money and just not have to be responsible for anything. And so I think I got
But
a
still,
job
you wanted
at-
to be in the restaurant industry? Or
yeah,
what? Okay.
yeah. I just wanted to take some time to kind of like
Don't say
assess
the
where
name
I
of
was.
the
I won't.
Oh dear.
So I
But
got a
you
job.
should tell the story.
I got.
Tell it, and I'll just go.
I
Beep.
well, yeah. I
In
got
post-production.
Yeah, I got a job at a restaurant,
Uh-huh.
and it was fine. It's totally fine. Fine.
You should tell
But
it's
it
fine.
You should have another
for
sip of that
me. It
wine.
wa-
It's
it wasn't-
delicious.
It wasn't for me.
Okay.
Yeah, like they told me that my like skirt was not short enough.
Oh, dear.
And, like,
Oh,
I was
dear.
like, yeah, I just don't know if this is gonna be a good fit.
Could you give
For
us a
me.
neighborhood even?
No,
Okay.
I cannot
Stop.
possibly do that.
No.
I cannot do that.
I know.
So, and this was my first introduction to Charlotte, so I'm like,
Wow.
no, this is
Yeah,
what's
she
going on
comes
here?
home. She comes like
I was
she's like,
furious.
really?
Like,
We're gonna live here.
I'm like,
You want to have kids
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
And
I
I'm
was
Let's go back to San
my
Francisco.
inner
Southern
feminist,
hospitality, my.
Yeah.
my inner feminist came out a little bit.
Yeah, I
I was a little
guess so.
upset. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm not working here though. So
Yeah.
but it actually worked out great because so I quit and then but I ended up getting a job offer from Bruce Moffat to be the GM at Good Food on Montford, which worked out amazing. So they were like 6 months in and they needed a GM and I was like, perfect, I got this, unlock, let's do it. And so that was a super fun job. I enjoyed that a lot.
Was
And
that good food at
Love
the
that
time?
place.
Was it like what it is now? Like, was it always hot from the beginning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
they opened up pretty hot. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean it was a great
I remember
spot.
we-
The food was amazing too.
So let me preface it with
Oh, food was
one of our favorite places. Like if
Oh, I love it.
we
Yeah.
love you guys and we love that place. But we had just moved to Charlotte and we got there at like 7:30 and we're like maybe 45 minutes. Something.
44?
The guy just like looks me dead in the eye and he goes, "Okay, that's a 3-hour wait." We're
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry. What did you say? So I can literally
It's a
drive
small
to
restaurant, yeah.
Winston-Salem and come back.
It's
Go grab a beer at
We're like,
Foothills and then.
next time we got there at 5:01, we were
Yeah.
like,
Oh, it was us
perfect.
and all of our grandparents.
Yeah.
We were there and it was delicious.
It was,
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
That is why we now take reservations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly right.
Did you guys start off not and then?
Well,
We still
Kindred
don't at lunch, but-
always took reservation. Well, we never did it at
Yeah.
lunch, but yeah, at dinner we did. But at Sailor we didn't this past summer, and it was like a sitch. It was one of those things. Where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's gonna be like 3.5 hours.
Oh, now I know. But the
So,
tiki bars
but
open.
yeah, so we're gonna start taking limited reservations there. But yeah, so I can sympathize. I know how that
Yeah.
goes.
Good problem to have. Good
It's
problem to
took
have.
my
Yeah, no,
mom,
it's a super good.
You know,
problem.
my mom, she's, she was our hostess for the first, couple of years.
Shut
No,
up.
that's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. Did people know that? Was that like
Oh,
a thing? Or
Oh,
was it
yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
My mom,
Yeah.
like everyone knows my mom
Yeah.
in the Lake Norman community.
She's amazing.
Oh, really?
She's the membership director at the country club at the Peninsula,
Okay.
and so she's been there for like 20 years.
Uh-huh.
So all
She
of
knows
the
a lot of
kind of high end, the Lakers that you
Sure.
probably saw trying to park their boat.
I'll be there. Just give me a second. Just give me a second.
You want some sunscreen, bro?
Yeah.
We should start selling sunscreen from my office. That should be my side
should.
business.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like right there at my door.
And long sleeve swim shirts.
Yeah.
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 Actually, most of the Lakers, that's not them. It's probably people around town.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah.
like
That
the-
could
By
be
the
our
way,
kids'
the
summer
Lakers
playground.
love that
I know, is
term.
that the term?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're professional. Like they're
Yeah.
pros. They got
Yeah.
this on. Yeah. They
But
got
yes, so she was like, honey, like a lot of these people are driving up from Charlotte, and for you to stand there and look at them and say, that's a 2-hour wait, what are they gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
like what are they gonna
Right.
go back to Charlotte? So as soon as she kind of like busted that to me, I was like, okay, let's do
See you,
reservations.
Mama
Interesting.
Kindred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Mom
a good-
came
Gotta
through.
listen to your mama.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
but I
some
mean,
reason,
Katie,
2
you were even
hours.
on the same page with me. We were like, let's just not do it. Like,
Well, we wanted to go through a year and not just.
Because what's
see.
the event behind a restaurant mind? Like, what's the advantage to not doing
I don't
reservations?
know if there's an advantage so much as like when you have, good food. It's just a small little neighborhood spot, so I get it
Yeah,
there.
that place is very small.
Yeah, it's super small, so that's part
What?
of it.
Because
But,
if they took reservations, it would eat up their whole restaurant. Is that what you mean?
I think for them, I guess it's just a choice. Like, I don't know. They probably do just as well with reservations, but there is, I guess, an advantage because you can have butts and seats all day long.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you have to deliver, like they deliver. So you know what I mean? Like food's good enough that people are gonna show up at 5 because they
Right.
want to avoid the late. And then
Yeah.
you've got butts and seats all day long. But like,
Oh, the advantage to no reservations. you're saying.
yeah, the advantage
Right.
of no reservations.
And
the
then you
advantage
just
of reservations.
circle the block for an hour until
Yeah.
your kids go to sleep.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
actually the sitter. Are they asleep yet?
Yeah.
Are they asleep yet? Perfect. We'll come in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, at Kindred though, like being in Davidson, we're a little bit more of a destination. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to a neighborhood
Yeah.
spot. And so like we are a neighborhood spot too, but for
Yeah,
us
right,
it's
right,
like
a mix.
it's kind of unfair to ask people to just show up, like you said, just show up and then
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's gonna be 3 hours.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like
a good point.
so we do reservations there. So it's, you just have to kind of judge where
Yeah.
you're at. And with Sailor, it's kind of we're a little bit of a mix of both. We're kind of
Yeah.
a neighborhood spot, but we're kind of also a
Mhm.
destination spot. And then in the summer, it's just a whole situation because it's like
Oh gosh.
with the boats and everything, and there's people coming in from the dock, and there's people coming in from the tiki bar, and coming in from the restaurant, and so we're like, I just don't see.
Yeah.
And you also have to weigh in that when somebody walks in, and they're coming from their boat and they don't have a reservation, and they see a table sitting there empty, and you tell them it's a 2-hour wait, that's pretty frustrating for them. So you just have to weigh.
Well, can I ask maybe a dumb
Yeah.
question too? Like,
Yeah.
is there the economics behind it is like fascinating because there's also the buzz around you've got a long wait, or am I making that up? Like, wow, these guys are hot. Dang.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm here. There's a crazy wait, but like you should like get on the list here because this place is out of control. Like that
Yeah,
type of thing.
I mean it's good, and it just depends. It depends.
Okay.
Like I know it can be frustrating too. It just depends on how long the wait is. I guess if it's 45 minutes, it's like okay, cool, I can handle
That's
that.
good. That's
Get a couple
like-
drinks.
yeah,
I think.
But when it's like 2 or 3 hours, that's just frustrating.
Especially at Hello, at
So,
Davidson, at Kindred, at least, I don't know, you have Main Street, you can walk up and down, maybe
Yeah,
go
the
to
Sailor is
Hello,
an
Sailor,
island.
you're kind of there,
you're
you're there, like,
Yeah.
There's a couple sweet strip malls. Like if you go back.
Yeah,
down,
that's
but-
true.
Yeah.
You have to walk a half mile to get
Right.
there.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
get Katie started on strip malls.
Oh.
So how do you guys balance
That's our
the
next
like?
concept.
Yeah.
Oh,
here. What is it?
You heard it here first.
It's going to be fabric here. It's going to be other like all interior decor. Like, wow, this seems to have a theme. Should we just make it one superstore?
That's a long story. It's a long
Oh wait,
Our kids want it next to a TCBY.
I bet they do.
They actually really think they would think that was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would think that's amazing.
Our kids want to
Yeah.
live in Pig Frog. So speaking of kids, how do you guys? What's your like? I'm sure there's not a typical day in life necessarily, but like
Yeah.
you know, Monday through Friday, your days are probably a little different from ours, being like non-restaurant people, in that you have different days off or different days on.
Yeah.
How does all that play out for you guys?
Sunday, Monday are our family days.
Okay.
So we we work a little bit Monday morning. We have admin for a little while Monday morning, but we have our grandparents. Our kids' grandparents are in town, so they have a special grandparent time, and we do some admin at Kindred on Monday mornings. But basically, we have like a day and a half. It's all of Sunday, and then Monday afternoons are family time. And
What does that mean? Like, how do you guys do?
Do you have like a go-to family? Is it like walk through the quad? Like, you know, the
We do, like
the
Mondays at Momo's.
yeah,
My mom's
Monday
house.
nights at his mom's
Oh.
house we do dinner, and sometimes in the summertime it's everybody, like all the cousins and everything, which is just so much fun. In the wintertime it's just whoever can make it, because everybody's so busy, you know, with sports and school and all that stuff. So, but that's a pretty big tradition. Yeah, I mean, you know, we've got, like, we cook dinner as a family both of those nights. If we don't go to Momo's, either way we cook as a family. And our kids love to cook with us and do all that, so that's super fun.
I wish we knew how to cook, so we could do that with our kids.
It's so easy, just like salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Do you cook pretty basic with the kids?
Oh yeah.
Really?
We
Yeah,
crush a
we-
taco night.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we typically keep it pretty simple on those nights. I mean, sometimes we'll do something crazy, but it's pretty rare. And if we do something crazy, it's like making gnocchi or pasta, which to the kids is super plain, but like
But
we'll do
super
it from
fun
scratch so
process
they
to
can
do. Oh my
learn,
gosh,
or
yeah.
bake bread, or
Oh.
you know, something that's like at the end they like love the result, and it's
Totally.
super easy, but they can see where it comes
Yeah.
from and how it's made.
Like my dream, my like haterade dream is it's like the mechanic. You know, the mechanic has the worst car in the neighborhood.
I know.
Like I'm imagining you guys like, all right, let's just do cereal.
Yeah.
Just pour cereal
Kraft mac and
in
cheese,
it.
fine.
But no, in reality, you guys are delivering like 5-star dishes to your kids.
Oh
on
no,
a Wednesday
hardly.
evening.
We are all listen. A box of mac and cheese is not below us.
Yes, yes. And the podcast.
Absolutely
And
not.
the podcast.
You're talking to a girl
Annie's-
who's a sommelier
Yeah.
and is drinking
This
the
is-
like I don't even know what you brought.
this
and it's
is
like
the-
It's the most insulting. I'm
Barefoot
so
Sauvignon
sorry.
Blanc in
Yes.
a red solo
You see what
cup.
she did? They see
There
her
you
face.
go.
She was like,
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Listen,
I'm kidding, I'm
I'm
kidding.
very low maintenance.
She's
You're
great.
good.
Speaking
You're
of which,
good.
just
I
give
can
me,
have
just
fun
give
no
me the
matter
sign
what
if you
I
guys want to top it off.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I'm a little low on your cheap wine, buddy.
Listen, man, we're good. I love it.
What do you guys do? What do you guys have like favorite date nights? Do you make it a point to not only family time? Do you do date nights just the two of you?
Absolutely, 100%, and you absolutely have to.
Yes.
No, we agree. But what do you?
100%. We're actually going after this.
Oh, that's good for
Oh,
you guys. Oh, I
love
love
it.
that you're doing that. Yay.
Yeah.
Tuesday night we used to for about 3 to 4 months before school started. We had a nanny that could commit to it, but our new nanny can't do it with her schedule. And we got to try some
We go every
amazing
week, yeah.
restaurants. But now if we get away, it's usually like a Monday for like a quick lunch or something. You know.
Oh, that's true. You can do daytime
Yeah.
stuff too. I guess.
Yeah, we'll
Book
do
your schedules.
lunches on Mondays, right after we have that little admin block, and then we'll go and do a little lunch. But we also traveled a lot this fall, and so we went on a lot of, we went out to eat a lot together.
Kidless vacations or work trips, but kidless trips, which is a
We're-
vacation.
we ended up going out a lot, which is great.
Well, I used to
But
like.
yeah, we feel pretty strongly that parents need to date
Yeah.
a lot.
Agreed. But we also call, I don't know about you guys, but we call anything a date. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if
Podcasts.
we're like,
100%.
we're here, we're like, oh, it's a pot. Like we'll probably do dinner or something on the way home too. Or if we even like with my schedule, I get there at like 3:30. I get home at noon, so I'm ready for bed at like 9, 10.
Yeah,
I go to bed
right.
at like 10. So if there's a night that I happen to be up and we watch like Bachelor in Paradise together, like date night.
Yeah, for sure.
Giorno.
That is a date,
Yeah.
though.
It
That
is.
counts.
We
I
always
mean,
talk
any
about
time
that,
when you're dialed into one another. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
shoot, we'll lock the kids outside in the backyard. You're
Oh.
forced to play outside.
Amen.
Yes.
And we're gonna sit here on the floor and
Yes.
drink a glass of wine,
Yes.
and everything's gonna be just fine.
Oh my God.
And you're gonna
Independent
figure
play.
it out.
Yeah.
It's called independent play. Have fun.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love that. So we moved down here. We moved down here from Raleigh about 4 years ago now, 3.5 years. and whatever, 4 years.
Yep.
And we live on like this weird family compound. The plan all along was to do that. So it's my brother, my sister-in-law's sister, and then his friend from work, who's basically like our family now too. But when we first
We're not weird.
we're totally
I was
weird.
like,
Joe,
family
look me in the
compound,
eyes.
go on.
I
Smell
know.
this rag. Smell this rag, Joe.
Jeanette and Momo, they're down. They're down. Listen. So, but when we first moved down here, it just reminds me of what you said, because we all lived on the same street there at first, even when we were just renting a house, and they would come over, my brother and sister-in-law and my other sister-in-law, and we would literally sit in the kitchen, and we had this like, you know, one of the doors to the backyard that's like glass panes or whatever, so we could see the kids. We would lock the door,
Oh yeah.
and like so that and they'd be like, we're hungry. We have to pee. We're like, there's a hose over there. Like, there's water. You can pee in the woods. You're fine. And we were laughing. We're like, they're like the Walking Dead. Like they would come up to the
And just walk face first to the door. Like face first to the door.
All
like,
the cousins were like, no, we're talking. We're having grown-up time. Like we're enjoying each other's company. Like we're like, nobody look at them. Nobody make eye contact.
well, I'm always the one
It's
that
kind of like Momo's background.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be honest though, like now, like our kid, like when you get the cousins together, it's like Lord of the Flies. Like they all are a pack.
Playground rules.
They don't need us at all.
Yep.
And they are like,
I
it
love
is
it.
amazing.
Don't
In the
you love that?
summertime, like in the summer, we're all sitting by the pool, just like these kids are just like their own little society
Yeah.
out there, and it's great.
I
It's not
got
that they don't fight, but there's like
no, they don't fight at all.
Oh, they
No,
don't.
they're
Oh,
really
ours do,
good.
but
No,
they-
yeah, they don't fight. They get along great, but
I break
they do
first.
have to police.
I always break first.
You do.
Yeah.
Guys, should we?
No, he
I
does.
feel like June's really gotta pee. Then let her pee her pants, Jake, and you better shut up, or we're gonna put you back there with
Or
her.
you step in, like, you'll step, if you guys don't stop, whatever, I'm like, go work it out. Like, my rule is, if you come to me, you have to stop whatever you're, like, you lose something, or you have to stop playing. So, like, work it out. If you come to me, like, I'll help you work it out, but if you're gonna lose all the toys, you're gonna be in timeout, so, like, figure it out, or
Right.
Die.
don't.
Figure out or die.
Die.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, like killing
It's
kids.
the
Isn't that awesome?
It's
Yeah,
the
no.
gauntlet at the
Yeah.
family compound.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
Nice.
my sister-in-law's
Oh,
rules are
gosh.
playground rules. Like, in other words,
Yeah.
like, you go, by the way, speaking of playground rules, this reminds me of the same type of thing. Did you guys hear about these playgrounds they're building now in the New York area?
No.
Because everything now is so, like, safety, and like you can't, playgrounds are like interpretive play, and if there's nothing that you can fall off of, and there's nothing you can whatever.
Right.
So kids are learning. I'm sure you've heard of free range parenting.
Yes.
The opposite of that movement, basically, which is okay. Well, I hadn't heard of
I don't
Thomas
either,
whoever.
I don't.
So free range parenting is basically what you're saying. Like they like 8-year-olds in New York City taking the subway by themselves. And, like, letting them do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or like
Right.
living in the
I
country.
do
like,
not. I
basically
do not
the 60s.
co-sign on that.
No, I know. It's like an extreme, but the point
Yeah.
is like it's like people talk about as if it really happened. Who knows? In the '60s, I'm like when I was a kid, we were walking to school by ourselves when we were 5.
I used to walk a tightrope to school. Like,
Yeah.
what are you
Like
talking
the whole
about?
like free. But now we've gone to such an extreme of the opposite. So what they're
Which
what
I
the-
also wouldn't co-sign.
Which also, right.
Yeah.
So the balance, what they're trying to do, they're talking about making these playgrounds now, or they're doing them, and I know there are a couple in New York, where they're basically like, you enter them, and they basically say like, there are things here, because they're saying kids don't know how to take risks anymore. Like kids aren't learning to take a risk and recover from it. They just, their whole lives, right. They go to college and they've never like stubbed a toe, or failed a test, or had to confront a teacher themselves because their parent always did it, or whatever the thing is. So these playgrounds, though, I was listening to someone describe it, and I was like, I think this might be skewing a little far on. They have like hammers and nails.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm out on this.
they'll
What
say,
is
like-
this?
Although they do have that at Discovery Place, or not Discovery Place, but some children's museums. They
But to
have
make
some-
crafts, she's talking about like
sections.
fall on nails that were like out to like.
I don't know. Maybe it's like a similar type, but because they talked about like a
Okay.
real hammer, and they'd be like, so if a kid
Oh,
hits their
I'm
thumb with
thinking
a
like nails
hammer,
point
Yeah, I
out.
don't know if like maybe a park.
I know. They're
but at a
like
museum,
parks.
it's like.
But anyway, it's just kind of an interesting like
Yeah.
balance of how far do you want to go. on
It
either.
is an interesting solution. It's like, okay, well, people are, going to extreme parenting, so let's just hand the kids nails.
Yeah, so I'll answer that. Not that far.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
Let's
out on
not.
going that far.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so as we start to wrap this up, I truly want to hear from you guys. So you don't have to say where you're going tonight, but like, do you have, if you go into Charlotte, a restaurant or two, or maybe a cocktail place, or a place for a glass of wine you love? So like, obviously take your places out of it.
Oh yeah, no, of
Favorite
course.
spots?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we unfortunately we don't get into Charlotte nearly enough.
Or
So
maybe
like
chef
a
you
lot
love,
of places that we've been to like one time. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
Same
just being
with us.
honest
It's
because
a hike.
we want. Well, and also we want to try. Every time we come, we're like, well, if we're going, we should go someplace new.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Totally.
so we do.
I'm all in on Fudo Buddha.
I was gonna say that. So I will be
Michael's
honest
my
with
boy.
you. Like, if there's one place that I rave though. We've been there.
It's there.
We've
Is
never
that
been.
how you say I have for lunch without you?
I'm sorry?
It's near where I get my eyelashes done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there on the off the
Yeah,
what's
the
walking
light rail.
path that the
Yeah,
cool people
yeah,
take,
yeah.
the young people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went and had like a afternoon like lunch there and a beer, and it was a beautiful
It's
day.
amazing.
Awesome.
It's
That is a
really,
bird,
really,
yeah.
really good.
Have you guys done the bird yet?
No.
It's
The
outstanding.
scooters?
The scooters.
Oh, the bird
No, I've
scooters.
almost been killed by them.
So
Yeah,
they're awesome.
so we've probably almost
Have you done
killed.
that?
We may have been that
Yeah.
person.
That was the Kindreds. That was the Kindreds. that I
No,
was
we
thinking of.
haven't done it in Charlotte,
So we
but we
did-
did it in
We
Atlanta.
did it. No, I did it, and we did it in Raleigh.
And
Is the
Raleigh.
line bike thing? Is the same thing, right? The
Yeah,
line
same
bike.
thing.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
It's
Really?
so much fun.
Is it
The
It's
whole
so big.
cool
It's-
kids
yeah.
light rail thing brought that up.
Oh,
yeah,
I like.
anyways,
No, we'll have to do
but
that.
yeah, no. So we love Fuda Buddha. That
Uh-huh.
is a great place. I can tell you where we've been recently.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We went to Stanley. We went to
Yes.
Bardo.
Yes.
We,
Oh, I haven't done Bardo. Is it
Haven't done
good?
Bardo.
You gotta go to.
It was
Is it
wonderful.
great?
Oh,
Bardo
it was
is
so
great.
good. I think he's probably the most creative chef in Charlotte right now. I mean, he's
Ooh.
like killing it. Like he's
Yeah.
really, really.
That's
he's
on our
doing some
list.
amazing food.
The
I
Stanley's.
think just like the passion that he puts out.
Wait,
like,
who's he?
Well,
from Bardo.
Oh, yeah.
Mike,
but he's
He's
got the
killing it.
technique. You can tell he's worked for some people with some chops. Like he's got amazing technique and control with his food, and like seasoning is right on. Like it's I can't wait to go back there.
If we had like 3 hours, I want to unpack that so bad. I'm like, what does that mean?
What does
Like,
that
as a
mean?
plate come back and like, nice control, Mike.
Oh, I guess that's just me.
Can you just
I'm-
tell?
No, like,
No,
we're
but
idiots
I mean,
with this stuff, so we're
no,
like,
well, you
wow.
can just, I don't know. I guess that's kind of nerdy. That was,
Oh, well,
I just
I'm
got
here
a
for
little
the
nerdy,
nerds.
but,
I'm
but
here
you
for the
know, you
nerds,
can
yeah.
just see, like, sometimes you can tell when you're eating in a restaurant, and I'm sure all the other chefs in Charlotte could agree with this. Like, you can tell when somebody's like got serious control of, and also like a really good sense of technique in terms of like how to season and how to cook something properly. And I know that seems really simple, but sometimes it can be like, you know, it all sounds really good on paper, but then it's like when it actually shows up, it's like, is it really like? And he's just got a
I mean,
lot
you
of
can
like,
love that.
You can just sit there and like, you can see the kitchen when you're in the dining room, and like
If like things
Like,
are on fire.
all
just-
like no, like every like the salt is like labeled out a certain way. Like it's just
You can
like,
just
just
tell.
dialed
You can
in.
tell he's
Yeah.
dialed in. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, he's super dialed in.
he's focused. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
That
been a
is
good
cool.
one. And then tonight we're going to Oku
Yeah.
Sushi.
Yep.
And Steve Palmer's like
He's a
just
good buddy of
a
ours.
good,
He's
Oh,
great.
nice.
he's
That's
just
where
a
we're with Blakely,
good
right?
human. That guy.
Blakely's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
so
spot.
good, you know. So that'll be great. And then I don't know what's another place that we've been.
What's
to
on your list
recently?
that you haven't been to that you want
Oh
to
my
try?
God, there's so many places.
Do you guys keep a
we went
list?
to La Belle Helene.
Yes, that's awesome.
Oh.
Recently, which we enjoyed a lot. That space is super dramatic. And
That's
fun.
our Breeze and Tell one the other night that they said
Yes.
we should try.
So
Yeah, it
you
was
were name
super
dropping
fun.
like crazy right
Well,
now.
listen, I'm
Yeah.
just trying
Go
to
for it.
tell everybody that's been on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it was great. That was really fun. We'll definitely go back there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all those Chef Noble, Paul's restaurants,
Yeah.
Bruce's restaurants.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's
Anything
a lot
down
of
in Valentine?
Oh.
You guys ever scoot on down to
No, that's what I was
Chili's
saying
or anything?
about
or-
the Stanley is they moved from
That
they
was
were in downtown
Heritage.
Waxhaw.
Yeah.
They were Heritage.
We love
Yeah,
it.
they came on Good Day a couple times too. I love them. It's Paul and his son. I can't think of his son's name.
Alex.
Yes,
Alex,
thank you. And I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a
so
fun
it's
little day. I don't know if you
space.
guys have ever been to downtown Waxhaw.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we went there.
Have you?
Oh, we
Oh,
went
yeah.
twice when it was in Waxhaw. It was great.
I-
But
yeah, we
yeah,
missed
I like
them
their
a
new
lot.
space though.
I
It's
do
great.
too, but we
It's
missed
cool.
them obviously.
Oh, for
That was a
sure.
fun night.
But
We
have you
did
been to
Dream
the new
Chasers
spot?
and then
Yeah, but just for
Yeah.
drinks, we gotta go for it. I know. We
So
gotta
that
go for
so that
time.
one of the guys who owns the new French restaurant that's there used to work for me at Good Food. He's
Oh.
a really good guy, super good
Oh, cool.
at what he does. And,
Yeah.
and they're just crushing it. I mean, they're
Yeah.
doing good stuff. So
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
I think
And I-
Haymaker was great.
Haymaker was really good.
Oh my God, tell me your Haymaker story.
So we went to Haymaker,
Mhm.
and because the weather was amazing, we requested to sit outside. Little did we know that request set off sirens within everyone at Haymaker that I was Jason Sudeikis and wanted to not sit around the commoners.
Do you guys know who Jason Sudeikis is?
Yeah.
The actor?
I don't
How
know.
did they?
So
just because
So I
the
get that all
way-
the time.
People think
I guess I could see that.
Yeah,
So
people
you're
think,
Lindsey
like-
Vonn and
And he's Jason Sudeikis. You guys, we were sitting outside, and when I tell you the whole staff was coming
Parade
to our
of
table,
staff.
we're like, they are super attentive. Like they kept just coming.
But and different people. It was like different people. They were like, here's this dish, and then there were 5 people behind a different dish.
It's so funny we didn't have that same experience. I wonder why.
Just kidding. Neither one of you would say
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna ask you a question after that too. But so, anyways, at the end, a guy comes out with
The
like
GM.
a pound of thing, and he puts it in front of Jake, and he goes,
Merchandise. He's
listen,
like,
it's merch,
I'm
like
honored.
t-shirts and hats. And he's like,
I
just
will
want
say
you to know
they
I'm
did
not going
do
to
that
bother
for
you,
us,
but
yeah.
Well, you guys deserve it. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna bother you, but we're really excited to have you here. Like, it's really cool. And I was like smiling, we're like laughing, and Jake goes, I'm not Jason's today, and he goes,
I'm a rule follower.
You're not?
Okay, at heart.
He's like, I go, don't break their hearts. The whole
They
first
were
time
so-
Jason's today."
You should have just
But you
owned
should've
it.
been-
I know.
You should have been like, but she is Lindsay Vaughn.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You missed the right person.
Turn around. That's amazing. But I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not who you thinking I am. And they all at the table were like, boo!
No
But
way!
I'm literally handing him a card that says James Fehling.
I'm
Like,
like, well,
this is my alter ego. I'm actually Jason. Get out of here. But and then
Do
he
you
goes, you know what?
That's so funny.
Keep the shirt and hat.
yeah.
It's like,
He was so-
I wear it all the time.
He was so disappointed.
All the time.
He was like, we'll
That's
just
great.
keep it
Yeah.
anyway.
Oh,
Do you guys
no,
Do you guys
that's so-
tell who, like, if you don't know the person, do you typically, like, say, like, it's Jill and Katy Kindred of Kindred and Hello Sailor, or do people
We
typically-
turn to us?
Yeah,
Oh,
do
God,
you-
no.
do you-
I was gonna say,
I
give him a
know.
little, give him a little credit.
We
All
have
right,
no
this is Joe and
idea.
Katy Kindred.
No, but they would know you. That's, do you know the people? Do you just go and, like, eat as just, like, normal?
No.
We are normal people.
Are you kidding? You know what I
We
mean?
are like nobody.
So
Yeah.
guys, let me just tell you, when we go, anywhere we go, even if it's like TCBY or whatever, I'm Paige Crawford of Good Day Charlotte. I expect all of this for free.
Hey, I don't.
All of this.
Hey, I go by my married name now. Thanks.
That's
for
like Crawford?
Yeah, you did say Crawford?
Well, you switched it on me on a Wednesday randomly. I still haven't caught up. All right.
Yeah, no, we definitely don't. I don't even know if anybody would know who we were when we said that.
Look at the hat, champ. Look at the hat. You've probably driven up there.
That is hilarious.
Don't you feel like it's almost like a sneak attack though to go to somebody's restaurant and not give them a heads up? Like,
Well,
it's like having a food critic.
we actually had that conversation with a chef buddy of ours in New Orleans because we had an event down in New Orleans not too long ago, and we talked to him about that because I was like, well, what do you think? Because he is actually a big deal. We're not, but yeah, he was like, well, I don't want anybody to make a big fuss, and if I go, then they're gonna try and buy me a meal and like do this whole thing. Which I get that
Yeah.
point of view, but at the same time, like if a big name
Like,
chef
would
like
you do
him
wanna
came into
come?
our
Would you
restaurant, I
wanna
would
know?
want you to
Right.
tell us
Right.
so that we could, extend extra hospitality or whatever. 'Cause
Make sure that plate looks
not
good.
that we wouldn't
Be
do
under
that
control.
for everybody,
Right.
exude all the control and
Turn the salt around. Turn the salt around, Katie.
well, yeah, but I mean, you want to do right by your people in the business,
Absolutely.
Like you want to
Of
do,
course.
yeah. But yeah, so I get
It's
both
a fine
sides of it.
balance.
I get both sides.
I do too.
So I think it's sort of common courtesy to let people know that you're coming, but then also say, please don't do anything special. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need any gifts or whatever, because industry people do want to.
Of course, I know, but yes,
Yeah.
it's
Do
a tricky
and we
balance.
do the same
Yeah.
thing. I mean, we'll go over the top and like do what we can for our industry
Yeah.
friends too. So
I think if you've met the chef or you know a friend there,
yeah,
you should say
Yeah.
something.
totally.
But,
If you
I
don't
mean, if
know
we're just
them,
going, like
yeah,
tonight, like we're just gonna go chill. And,
yeah.
Well, that's what you think.
Because I
they're,
think it's
they're
like-
listening right now, Joe.
It's like,
We're actually bringing out the
oh, they're
fish. and, like,
recording it.
choose one, please.
But no, I mean it's because it's also weird when like all this because like let's say like we're in like one of our little things where we're like not eating this and not eating that and you're like
Wait, what's
Yeah.
one of your
What is that
things?
thing?
Like a health thing, you mean?
yeah
Okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
we all do them.
Oh my God, yeah, you don't want to be like, oh, we're dairy free this week, so
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I get a paleo pasta?
Right.
Sorry, I'm off fish this week. What do you have? It's sushi, so we've got a real problem.
Yeah.
Just seaweed?
I think that's a good rule. That it's like if you know them, if you have a
Yeah.
relationship with them, and that's kind of what we do. Because it's kind of like kind of obnoxious too, like we don't know them. Like,
But we've been
hey, by the
bothered.
way,
Yeah.
Or you know what? I just sometimes
Yeah.
if it's someone who's like been on the show or something who I never expect they would remember or like, but when we leave, I'll just like say, can I pop in and say hi and thank you? You know what I mean? So that that I'm not
Yeah.
so they know I'm not asking you for anything because we're already done.
just wanna say
Hey,
hello.
I just
Yeah.
want to tell you that we had a great time and like
Yeah.
great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
But
that's
as the owner and the chef, I always appreciate to know when someone's coming
Yeah.
because I just want to do something to
Yeah.
make you feel a little bit more special.
Sure.
And we, in
Yeah.
the same way with our farmers, like when
Yeah.
they come in, we want to know because like
Oh, that's cool.
those
Oh,
are
that's
like
cool.
our best. I mean,
Yeah.
we need them
We couldn't
like
do
that.
what
Like
we
all
do
of our
without them.
purveyors, like we want to know when you're coming because
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
super special.
You got that, farmers who are listening? Don't sneak up on Joe and Katie. All right, guys, we have reached the portion of the podcast. Do you know what this is?
Oh, I don't know, but it's a.
It's a
No.
catchphrase.
It's a broken game. She's like, why is it broken?
Do you know what
Well,
catchphrase
Miss
is?
Page is
I
a
know,
little
but I
competitive.
can't wait.
Okay. Okay, it's ready.
Oh, thank
Okay,
goodness.
I know. I
Change
checked
the batteries.
But before we do this, real quick, are there any Facebook questions, Shelly, that we need to address?
No question.
Okay, perfect.
Somebody
Okay.
wants a fist bump though.
Oh, there we go. Everybody.
Oh, not each other?
To everybody.
Oh, to
everybody.
Facebook. Got it.
There we go,
okay.
everybody. Okay, so
right,
the
so we're
rules
G.
of catchphrase, we're
Okay.
T, it's girls v boys.
Okay.
And I believe that girls, in terms of the overall podcast record, girls are winning.
Absolutely not correct.
We're winning, Katie. Girls are winning. Okay, so I can give you clues of anything. You have to guess what I'm saying. You guess only for Jake, boys and girls.
So I'm guessing what's written on that thing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and what do you use?
I can do-
Anything but the word.
Exactly.
And not hand signal.
I mean, we're not.
And what
too-
exactly
Oh my
tends to
gosh.
be things on there?
Well, here it's
Oh.
categories.
Animals.
It's
You gotta choose food.
rocks.
You gotta choose food.
Oh, we do have to do food for you guys. Okay,
Oh,
ready?
food, okay,
Yeah.
alright.
It's
So
a
it's some
sports,
type
games,
of
entertainment, food.
By
Okay,
the
we're
way,
gonna do
Are you
food.
watching Katie lock in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is on it. Ready?
I'm on a
Let's
flight to Paris with no
go.
parents.
And so when your partner
I was
guesses,
born for this. Go.
you were.
I'm just kidding.
When your partner guesses, you
Not
immediately
competitive
hit
at all.
Next.
Bring it.
Don't hit that. Hit this. So blue button.
Let me
Okay.
go last.
Okay.
I'm so not
So
good.
it goes like this.
It's us. Let's
Okay,
go.
so
We got this.
after somebody guesses your thing, you hit next and pass
And
it.
pass
to
it,
the next.
exactly.
Okay, all right, let's
Wow.
go.
Family game night.
Yeah.
I know.
I get a
on
little
it.
intense. Go.
Okay, you eat this if you need, like, if your kid has constipated and they need to poop. It's a fruit.
Banana.
And no, it's that stops you up.
Oh, that's
It's a
right.
fruit, and you eat like
prune.
And it's a orange apple.
Apricot.
It's the type of it's prune what? If you
Oh.
have orange this or apple this or prune this. It's the what comes out of it if you squeeze
Your
an orange.
milkiness.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, you milked that. Oh, this is salt. But on the scientific table.
NaCl.
No, but what is salt made of? Like when you
Sodium chloride.
Yep.
Okay, so okay. First, if it's an animal, and oh gosh, okay, when you're eating food really fast, but it's an animal.
Dog.
Starving. Yeah.
Starving up.
But with
Shoveling.
an animal.
Dog.
Think of an animal,
Cat.
like a dog.
Dog.
Like a dog.
Snarfing
And
it
you
up.
do this.
Gout.
Gout.
Barking. Shoveling it in.
Yeah. No.
Dog. Barking. Oh,
What?
dang. That's okay.
Wolf
do
it
I-
down.
do I have
Wolf
to do
it
this?
No,
down.
now you start.
Wolf down, dude.
Okay.
Now you start.
Alright, so what do I
Press
do?
the
You
start
just
button.
start. So it's 1-0.
And then I read this thing?
Yep.
So if it ends on you,
For our
yeah,
listeners,
okay.
Katie
Yeah.
is furious.
I'm so mad right now.
So you
Alright,
have to
so,
here, wait, let me just-
oh, I hit next. Oops.
You're good. You're good. Okay. So hit start.
Start.
Just hit start.
Got it. This is a game you play.
Oh dear.
Shovel.
It's not cold.
Hot potato.
Boom.
Okay.
Yep.
Press next and pass to me. There we go.
Sorry, I just
Okay.
drilled the mic.
This is like very holiday flavor, and it's a fruit, and they're little and they're tart, and they're not
Cranberry?
Uh huh.
Whew. Another version of the crayon.
Berries.
This is a color, not. Oh gosh.
Oh come on.
Yeah. Sorry. It's not name colors. Red, orange, yellow.
Blue. Violet.
Brown.
Indigo.
After
Purple.
brown, not white, but
Black.
yep. And
Blackberries.
then yep. But that's the first one, and the second word is like the red version of.
Blackberry red.
Super. If you're losing your voice, you're like, oh, you gotta.
Horse. Blackberry horses.
No.
The
I was gonna guess
blackberry
too.
horse.
To be fair, that's what I was gonna guess too. That's a blackberry horse.
Blackberry horses was the answer. We win. Nope. Black raspberry.
Ah.
So I was saying raspy voice.
Raspy.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, how do we do raspberry?
That's hard. Well, I definitely wouldn't have gone the direction you went in, though. Could have gone a different.
Okay, how do you do rat? All right, you know what? I'm already slow this down.
Black horses. Black
horse.
horseberry.
Can we stop on black horseberries?
So this is that.
So you just hit start.
Okay,
Oh my
start.
gosh.
Alright,
Start.
I
Game
hit
point.
start,
This
not
is game
next.
point, guys. Whoever,
I hit
yeah,
start.
correct.
Okay, so that I'm in England and I am having a
Tea.
drink
Tea.
out
Tea
of
time.
a.
Sure.
Yep.
Either way. I am hitting
So I think it started
Oh,
on
dear.
accident.
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, okay. You.
Chewing. Chaw. Chew gun. Gun chew. Chew. Chaw. Gun. Shoot.
This
Shoot
is
ski.
like a really big.
Shotgun. Chew spray. Is chew the word? Chew gun spray. Tobacco. Chaw.
You eat this. It helps your breath.
Oh, mint.
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Chew. Gum.
What am I doing?
Gum.
Yes.
Gum.
Okay, that's
Gum.
Third word. God. Jake is a horrible guesser.
Chew gum.
first word.
Yep. Gun. Shoot. Shoot.
Another word for
Spray my gun?
another word. A type of gun.
I want you to just keep giving the clues.
Hold on. Let me finish this. Listen.
Bazooka bubble gum.
Chew your bubble gum?
Bazooka bubble gum.
bubble gum.
Gum. Third word.
He was
bazooka.
giving you like actual what's the
I was playing. I think I was playing. What's
yes,
that game?
no,
Are you allowed to do that?
Yes, I don't
Oh,
care.
okay.
Third word, it's a movie.
I know.
So I'm Katie in this
Charades,
thing.
there
I'm
you go.
so mad. All right. I am so mad at myself right now, Joe. I am so sorry.
Yes.
I feel
It took you 45 seconds to get gum.
no. I got chew.
Right.
Bazooka
You
bubble
chewed it
gum.
for your breath. Mint. Mint.
I was going the other way. I wasn't saying what was in the mouth.
Well, the girls won, so.
Girls win. Congratulations,
Oh.
girls.
Guys,
Singular congratulations. Sorry, Joe.
thank you for
Oh, he's
playing.
gonna be so mad.
Yes.
All he's thinking about is sushi right now.
I know. Enjoy Oku. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys for coming
we're
on.
fun.
This is
was
awesome.
Really great. Thank you guys.
This is
for
even
having
better
us. Than your milk bread cinnamon.
Ugh.
Nothing is better than your milk bread cinnamon dessert.
Go check out Hello Sailor. Go check
Yeah.
out Kindred.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was super fun.
Yeah.
Bye, Facebook.
Thank you.
Bye, Facebook. Oh man, that was fun.
That was awesome. Thank
Wow, I
you.
feel like my
awesome.
brain turned
Bye,
off.
guys.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I got